Top One Futures just came out with a new account called the Straight to Funded Sim Pro. Now, I want to walk you through the rules of it and the trailing drawdown, the payout cap, all that good stuff, as well as the cost to see if it fits for your trading style, because it's not going to be for everyone. But listen on up and let's see if it fits for you. So you can see we have the instant funded that we're all used to, and we have trading videos on those. But the new accounts, the Straight to Funded Sim Pro, the difference is you can now copy 7 of these accounts together, which is more than the 3 that you can currently do on the instant fundeds, right? The cost on the instant fundeds are going to be a little bit more upfront, no activation fee, but these Straight to Sim Pros also don't have an activation fee. So that's also a huge drawing point for a lot of people. But let's go through some of the rules. So let's just say we're going with the 50K accounts because I have videos on that of why that's probably the most optimal one. If you want to try to maximize payouts, make sure you check that one out as well. But you can see that right now, there's no daily loss limit. They scratched that one out, so you're free to just trade the whole account if you want to. I would not suggest that. I would set in a max daily loss limit on the Project X platform, which is where you're going to trade these. And the thing with these Sim Pros that people like, some people don't like, is the trailing drawdown as opposed to the fixed drawdown on all the other accounts that we're used to trading. So that's where I say it comes down to what's your trading style, that can you handle the trailing drawdown? Because not everyone can. You really can't afford to have a big move go your way and take on a lot of drawdown or even just pullback of that, because that's going to mess with that trailing drawdown. And it is intraday, right? We're used to fixed after the trailing drawdown end of day, but this is intraday. So keep that in mind. The same thing, 10 days to pay out. The new thing is also the ESS, the Equity Stability Score. That one is if you just combine, let's zoom it in so you guys can see it as well. If you combine your total most profitable trading day and your largest losing day, right? But just remove the subtraction for negative. And you must not exceed 30% of your total profits during the payout period, right? So you really just want to make sure that you're not having big red days, which is what we never want on any account, whatever we're trading. Never have a big red day, especially compared to your big green days, right? Let's go into some of the payout rules. The trailing drawdown on these, let's just say for the 50Ks, like we're saying, you need to make 6%, which is going to be a $3,000 profit target on the 50K. So you got to get to 53,000. Now your payout's going to be 2,500 when you request it, but notice how your new max drawdown trails up with you and is no longer intraday trailing, but it locks there after your first payout. But you can't let it now go below 50,100. But we just had a balance of 53,000. We took out 2,500. We only have $500 left in that account, and I can't let it go below 50,100. So I really only have $400 worth of drawdown left in that account if I take the payout right at 3,000. So you have to be aware of that and comfortable with that, of what is your game plan going into it. Do you want to buy these accounts, get them up, take the payout, and comfortable losing them, and then just go back in and rinse and repeat? If you want to keep these accounts alive, like they say here on these important tips, leave some profits in your account to avoid breaching on your next trade. Yeah, because you have $400 left in that account. If you take one loss, you're probably done. So if you want to leave a buffer in there so that when you take that payout, your balance is maybe still 51,000, you have $900 to play with, right? To each their own, whatever you want to plan out in your own plan. And then once your drawdown locks, it stays locked and fixed until you reset, and the lock will automatically happen once you take your first payout. But I think the same thing of having to make a balance of $3,000 to take out 25 is huge, because especially when you go back to Top One Futures, the website where they break it all down, on the instant fundeds, it's the same criteria for a less price now, but the trailing drawdown, right? That's why it's different. This one has trailing drawdown, which is going to be a little bit more difficult for other traders, myself included, that you're paying less, but it may be a little bit more difficult because the trailing drawdown. So if you want it easier, I use that lightly because none of this is easy. You might want to just use the Straight to Sim instant funded, no trailing drawdown, still make that 3,000 to take a $2,500 payout, and you go on about your day. But if you want to do it for a little bit cheaper, potentially, you can do the Straight to Sim Pro, which is $175. If you use my code, it actually, I think, like $155, let's just say, 55% off. If you use my code, this is showing you 50% off. But I think it really just comes down to, what can I handle? Is that trailing drawdown something that's going to bite me, or is it going to maybe help me and thrive in my conditions, that I'm really quick in and out of my trades, not really holding too long? Because then you might want to use less of your own capital invested into it to take the same payout you would from these instant fundeds, right? And another drawing point, which you touched on in the beginning of the video, is you could copy 7 of these together. So that's a huge point. You could buy 7 of these. I'm not going to do the math. 7 times 150, whatever that is, to take a very decent amount of payouts of 7 times 2,500 a nice 14, 15K payout for like $1,000 or $1,200 invested into it is very appealing if you can handle the trailing drawdown. So to each their own, definitely make sure to check it out. I would say at least buy one if you want. If you're interested in it and you never play with trailing drawdown, you don't need to go all heavy in and buy all 7 and then burn all 7, right, to copy them together. You could buy 3, buy 5, see how you handle the trailing drawdown. If you handle it well and you take a payout, beautiful. Maybe now you want to scale up and copy the 7, or maybe you just want to start with 3 to see how it plays with your strategy, right? If you're looking for 3, 4, 5R moves that go against you, come back in favor of you, and then pull back some more, you may not want to trade these accounts. You may just want to suck it up and buy the bigger accounts, right? The instant funded of bigger investment, but you have none of that trailing drawdown, a higher chance of taking that payout. So like I said, know yourself, but check them out for yourself. It's a great deal right now, 55% off if you apply my code, which is down below, code Evan. And I think the biggest draw is, 7 accounts, only $150 per account to take a 15K payout off of $150 per account. It's pretty huge. So check it out. Trade safe. If you have any more questions on the rules, always check their FAQ. Always feel free to reach out to me, whoever. I'm always on stream. You can always ask me questions on these top 1 accounts. But good luck. Trade safe. And I'll see you guys on the charts tomorrow morning.